And what we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at some of the moths that we recorded here last night in a survey we did. We ran some light traps through the reserve, and that attracted various moths which we'll have a look at. So what I'll do is I'm going to put up a screen on my swap around, which is the main feed, so you're looking at that rather than me. Which color, see how this works. But we will have a look. We're going to look here, so we'll put down here and just quickly go to the device I'm looking at, and this gets harder and harder. Right, and then I'm focusing this. So this moth is a Bufftip. It's a relatively common moth, feeds on quite a variety of plants and so on. But it does occur reasonably frequently on the reserve, and was one of the first ones that came to light last night. That's Bufftip, and you should be able to see on the screen the scientific name, Poplar bucephala, as well. So that should give you an idea of that one. Find the next moth on the list. I've got these in an order, which makes it easier for me to share the things. So we're going to just remove that one and for now. Just quickly move to do everything in mirror image to make this work. There we go. So this moth, another fairly common species, is called the Fanfoot, or Xanthogantha. Oops, it's also alive, as you can see. So some of these are going to be challenging because they're going to fly away, but hopefully you at least got a brief glance at that before it completely disappeared. So the next species we're going to have a look at, if I can find it, is common marbled carpet. It's been quite active, so we'll just have to have a look at this one in the pot, I'm afraid. Which may not be ideal, but hopefully if I focus it right, you'll at least be able to see the moth. So this is common marbled carpet. It's quite a variable moth, and there was a species but this form fused with the dark marbled carpet, form with the brown central point to the wing, is pretty distinctive and reliable as common marbled rather than dark marbled. So we can be happy enough with the next species of the which I'll put into the view now. There we go. Is Heart and Dart. I'll see if it'll come out and behave itself, so you can see it better. So this is Heart and Dart, a very common moth, one of the commonest ones that we get. application up for you so you can see what it is. Not sure how the image quality is coming through here. Hello, Georgia from Ann Arbor. Do let me know what the image quality is coming. Warnings about poor signal strength, so it may be this is not good enough to work, but to let me know. But this is Heart and Dart. This is a really common moth, one of the most frequently seen in my traps here. And I'll put its name up again. Oops. And what I was doing last night was I was running a series of light traps that attract the moths and allow me to identify what was there and do some recording what's on the site. This is a bit of an experiment showing it this way, using the SLR as the tool for transmitting the record, transmitting the images. So we'll have to see how it works. I also have to try and find the moth that I'm actually looking for. Okay, there we go. So this is another species. It doesn't want to sit the right way up. Let me just quickly go and find this. So this is the white ermine. I'll put its name up and then. So this is white ermine again. This is a pretty common species. We see it a fair amount. Okay. So yes, I didn't use a light trap with a sheet. I used a light trap with a box to set a box essentially. I'll probably do another broadcast on an occasion and show people the traps in. It uses a bright light, and then there's a box, and inside the box there are egg cartons, egg boxes, so that things can sit on and rest on the egg boxes. This moth is actually alive. It's just playing dead at the moment. It was flapping around a bit earlier, but some of the white ermine, its vernacular name is white ermine. The fur ermine that you get from, what is it lemmings? Some sort of small rodent anyway that produces ermine as a fur. Thanks for the super heart, appreciate it. All the awards I collect here on HAPS, when I eventually cash them out, will go to one of the conservation charities I'm involved with, probably mainly this one, the Selborne Society, who run the reserve where I did this trap. So it's all money that goes to a good cause. But people shouldn't feel under any obligation to make a donation, right? So perfectly legitimate to simply watch and not. So I'll put this one down. It's a little bit of me not being very good at manipulating things and mirror image going on here. This is another of the common species. I'll leave this one in a pot because if I try and take this out, it will almost certainly flap. But this is a clouded silver. Put its name up here onto apps. And then jump back to the comments and see what people are saying. Image is working now. Well, that's good. I think I'm not on a wired connection, so I'm basically on a 4G connection, and it cuts out a little bit. Clouded silver again, another white wings with these dark patches, and the thinking is that it's probably some sort of pattern breaking, so that a bird, perhaps or something looking to see that, seeing that sitting up in the tree canopy, might think it's a gap in the tree canopy with a bit of leaf or a bit of branch. So a bit of camouflage behavior going on. And the next one. Next one is another common moth that occurs in the grassland. Again, I'll probably leave this in the pot rather than try and get it out, so you'll get a sort of a view of half its wing in effect. But this is a straw dot, very common grass-dwelling moth, and one that you see here in England. It's relatively common, quite a small moth, yellowish straw in colour, and it's got that brown spot. Although if you really zoomed in on that brown spot, which I can't do with this setup, it has got some purple scales in there as well, which is an interesting difference. Now the next species, I'm going to have to leave this, I suspect, in its pot because it's, yeah. Hold this under the camera. Just get going. I wonder if this works better if I turn the might work slightly better with that turned off. So this is Creamboard P, which I can't now find the name of. How bizarre. So this is Creamboard green pea. This is a nationally scarce species. It's associated with willows, and we do get it here from time to time. So I was quite happy to get this in my trap last night. As I say, it's probably the rarest of the things I caught. Not supremely rare, but nevertheless a nice species, and one that I was rather glad to get. Not sure how well it works with the image. It's clearly that's why I didn't work. Okay, and then the next species we're going to have a look at. Oh, I can't find it. Ah, yes. This one I'm quite fond of as well. So people who follow me on Twitter know the name I go by on that platform is Blotched Emerald. And this moth is the Blotched Emerald, after which my platform, my Twitter handle is named. And the reason I chose it on Twitter was, well, partly when I first started using Twitter, I wasn't sure if I wanted people to know it was me. So I set it up as an anonymous account and just chose one of the prettier moths from the trap I'd run the night before I set up my Twitter account. And then I've sort of stuck with it. But this is really rather an attractive moth. It's not massively rare, not massively unusual, but it's somewhat associated with ancient woodland, ancient oak woodland in particular. So it's something that we get here and that shows that this is a good old site. A couple more sites to show you that are quite nice. Let's see if this behaves itself. Oops. Okay, this moth might behave itself, so I can put the light on. You get rather an unflattering view of me when I manipulate the camera, I'm sure. So this is the Poplar grey. Again, not a particularly rare moth, but it's not I get that frequently in this trap. I won't necessarily be confident every year. So rather happy to have seen that last night. Somewhat associated with poplars, hence the name, but quite a nice thick-set moth, one of the noctuids. Fairly distinctive pattern of markings as moths go, although I appreciate if you don't do these things, you look at that and think, well, what's the distinguishing features there? But the pattern of markings, the shade, the things, and so a couple of other fairly nice ones, which I will show you. Oops. So this species, when it appears, this species goes by the name of the bird's wing. It's a species that's not scarce, but not super abundant nationally, and we don't get it very frequently. I think it's only the 5th or 6th record of this for this site for here in Perivale Wood. I was quite happy when I got that, quite glad to get that species. See that in my trap in the morning. It's not one I expect to get every year, so yeah. And clearly somebody felt that this pattern of markings resembled the wings of a bird in some way. I don't particularly see it myself. I mean, maybe the idea is that this end up here, like some bird's wings. Maybe it looks like an eagle or something. I'm not sure. But that is a species that I was very happy to get because I don't see it that frequently. I will do, and then we'll call it a day. Oops. Quite a large pale moth coming up. Oh, it's actually hard to behaving. With really funky antennae. I wonder if there's a way to turn that square off. No, well, done it for now. So this is a white satin moth. Again, not a species that is a rare one, but I've not, if you read the national list, don't see it frequently. It was last seen here in Perivale Wood back in the 1980s, this species, last recorded here. So I was slightly surprised to get that this morning. It's not one I expect to see, of course. I wasn't trapping here in the 1980s, but other people were, and they got that. So that's just a quick run through of some of the species we got as part of the monitoring that we do here, and part of the looking after this nature reserve is this sort of surveying activity, this sort of establishing what is present, what is here, so we can think about it and we can work out what we need to do, what we need to look after. So I'm going to now